shows. Let's go home. Wesley Snipes.
Nah, you go.
Give me a reason. I've been trying.
Yeah, I might go crazy. I might go MJ back in the 80s, back in the 90s. I might go off, or they better not try me. It might get dicey. I ain't trying to go back to the old me. I'm trying to hang on like my mama told me.
隐瞒，我真想看看你一个大男人是怎么打出一套女人拳的。好嘅功夫係唔會分男女老幼，睇人嘅啫。至於打成點，你一陣咪會知咯。請。
This movie kind of blew my mind. Ip Man. This was solid. I watched it with the original Cantonese dialogue up in there with the English subtitles. This was my first time seeing Donnie Yen play a lead in a movie. I'd seen him play kind of side characters in a movie here and there, but I'd never seen him as the lead character. He did a great job. Not only is he great at martial arts in the movie, but he has that charisma that you want in a leading character, leading role in the movie. Ip Man just so happens to be based on a real life person, if you don't know, was Bruce Lee's mentor, famously. So this movie gives you a little bit of a history lesson, like here and there, delves into a little bit of history and politics, especially war between Japan and China. Now, I wasn't too educated on that, to be honest with you, but some of those war scenes and showing the effects of the Japanese army coming in on the Chinese folks. Yeah, some of those scenes were especially emotional. Also, that's where the R rating comes in, because up until it started to get into the war and the politics stuff, I was like, it's pretty light for an R-rated movie, you know, a little cussing here and there, but I don't even think they said the F word. But the war stuff is the main reason this movie's rated R. So Ip Man practices this martial arts known as Wing Chun. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I know I say that a lot in these videos. He is the best kung fu / martial arts person in this whole town in China, the town of Foshan. So Ip Man is kind of living it up a little bit. You know, he's posted up. You know, he has his wife and his kid. He has his nice house. He has his martial arts. He has people looking up to him. So, you know, he's living nice up until 1937. This movie, it first starts off in 1935. So the good life for Ip Man is gone. Japanese army is all around. People are being oppressed. But Ip Man holds on to his dignity, never loses his dignity. Speaks out when he really feels like it's time to speak out against stuff. The action scenes were amazing. I thought the action scenes were great. Yeah, Donnie Yen was killing it. Shout out to the action choreographers on site. Great action. I'm not going to talk too much about Japanese-Chinese war because I'm not too educated on that in terms of, like reading it in a history book or something. But I will say they kind of have like a Chinese Uncle Tom up in here. He's like a translator, so that's what the Japanese army uses him for. But I was kind of thinking that during a few scenes, and they don't like go super deep into that, but they kind of address it a little bit, especially if you're paying close attention. But you see, kind of got a Chinese Uncle Tom. What do they call their Uncle Toms? And I guess just a traitor. Overall, I would give this movie 3.5 out of 5 stars, but super close to a 4. Super close. Probably one of the coolest things that Ip Man does in this movie is he flicks the barrel out of a gun like it's nothing. Now, I will say that it does take a second to get to the war stuff. The war stuff doesn't really kick in until like 30 minutes into the movie, but it has an impact on the rest of the film once it arrives. And the movie gave me some homework. Now I gotta look up some history on this Japan-China conflict. They said the war eventually ended in 1945. I don't want to really spoil anything else in the movie in case you decide to watch it. And I thought it was good. The better the movie, the less likely I am to accidentally spoil it or even do a spoiler section. If the movie's trash, I probably don't really care about spoilers, just being honest. But for AAC show, I'm gonna try to be spoiler free for the most part. If I really feel like I have to do a spoiler, I'll just give a spoiler warning.
Now, since time is of the essence, I developed a device that allows you to absorb the whole of white culture in mere seconds using subliminal imagery. I call it Caucasia vision.
Hey, feel like George Clinton.
We want the funk. Turn it on.
Here we go, one more time. Everybody's feeling fine. Here we go now. Here we go.
Hello? Hello?
To the beat, we got everything you need.
Make it stop!
Here we go now. Here we go.
Don't you give up on me!
I see white people.
It's too much! Too much! Caucasian overload! Caucasian overload! Caucasian overload! Caucasian overload! Caucasian!
All right, last week I did Last Dragon, and I said it was hard for me to be objective with that movie. Subjectively, I wanted to give that a 4 or 4.5 stars out of 5. I feel kind of similar about this movie, Undercover Brother, here. It's one of those movies, or like one of those comedies where like you'll laugh at a lot of the jokes, but sometimes you'll be like, is that even a joke, or is that just like straight up the truth? That's the Undercover Brother experience. There's just a hint of like a modern day blaxploitation vibe with this movie, but you know, if we're gonna mention blaxploitation movies, I've seen a handful of them, and they weren't all bad. They're especially the ones that were done by black folks who were trying to, you know, empower black audiences instead of just putting stereotypes out there. But I mean, blaxploitation era, I mean, I can make a whole video on that. This was my second time watching this movie, and the reason why I enjoy this movie so much is because Eddie Griffin is hilarious.
Hi there. How you doing? What do you say there? Howdy.
May I help you?
I sincerely hope so. Today's my first day in multinational.
Oh, my.
Jackson. Anton Jackson. And no, not one of the Jackson 5.
And he's, you know, kind of, I mean, even though it's a comedy, you know, it's satirical, he's still kind of smooth as Undercover Brother.
Oops.
You mess with the fro, you got to go.
Sister Girl's pretty solid too. I like Sister Girl. I know the actress who plays her, but I'm not quite sure how to let me just look it up real quick. Anjanou Ellis, that's her name. Anjanou Ellis. Before I start talking about more positives of this movie, I'm gonna say this was kind of a 2000s thing, and they do it in this movie a little bit. Where Mr. Feather, the dude is working under the man. He says like, for sheezy my kneesy. A little too close to the N-word for me, fam. What was it, for shizzle my nizzle? That was another one you might hear in the 2000s. I mean, it's not like, you know, I walk down the street and white people, hey, for shizzle my nizzle, like every white person's saying that as I'm going into school or something. But, you know, kind of one of the things we're hearing it now, especially, it's like, all right, bro, that's, you were trying to get away with saying the N-word, stop. Movie has a pretty solid soundtrack too. You got pickup. It's ironic the movie starts off with a song by the Average White Band, but I mean, black people, we like Pick Up the Pieces, right? I mean, that's a great song. I mean, if you're just a fan of music in general, it's a great song. But I think black people, I think we like that song. I can't speak for every black person, but it's a solid song. Now, I think I'm gonna limit the cringe section on this movie because I could include a lot, but it's just like, this is one of those movies where if you read what the premise is, and knowing it came out 2000s, you can kind of expect some stereotype jokes to be up in there. Yeah, they do a good job of, I mean, a decent job of addressing some stuff, but there are definitely some cringe moments for sure. Okay, I want to give the movie 4 or 4.5 stars out of 5. But objectively, I'm going to give it a strong 3.5 out of 5 stars. If they had toned back a few things, I might give it a 4. I don't want to go too into my 3.5 out of 5 star rating, but I just want to say, to me, it's almost a great movie. It's almost a great movie. It's a very, very good movie, but not quite at the 4 out of 5 star level, objectively speaking. But I wanted to give it that. I wanted to.
As it turns out, I have just the product. Here's one of your cigarettes. Take a good look at it. It's pale, small, a little on the lamp side. It's basically inadequate. Can't possibly give much pleasure to the user.
It sure can't.
I mean, ask yourselves, how many black people are gonna want to smoke this?
Not the one I know.
You have to effectively position your product with the black consumer. May I present to you the fatty? Huh? It's got that hand-rolled look and feel that's so popular with today's black youth. It's big. It's full of long-lasting pleasure to be enjoyed again and again and again.
I could use a smoke.
Yeah.
Also, real quick, I said this was my second time watching this. My second time? Honestly, I might have seen this movie 3 or 4 times. But after the first time I watched this movie, because I kind of like mayo on like a burger or like maybe a chicken patty or something like that. I don't go crazy, but I like a little bit of mayo. I think I went like 2 weeks without eating mayonnaise after I saw this movie for the first time. Because there's one part where she like says, "I got you some extra white she devil." She says like, "I got you some extra mayonnaise," and it's just like, oh my gosh, bro, that is disgusting. Don't eat that. Why would you? What? Just nah.
I made us some sandwiches.
Extra mayo for me, please.
Freeze, sucker. Put down the mayonnaise.
And how can I go this review without mentioning Dave Chappelle as Conspiracy Brother? Let me tell you something about the word good, brother. He some of I don't enjoy all of his lines, but he has some classic lines up in here. Some people might be like, "What? You're trying to diss Dave Chappelle?" Like, no. I just think that, you know, black intelligence is something that needs to be handled the right way in films, and you know, it feels like sometimes they're trying to put down the character a little bit, you know, here and there. I'm not trying to go full conspiracy, like Conspiracy to nah. Neil Patrick Harris can be pretty cringe. I mean, this is like, yeah, before How I Met Your Mother. Definitely after Doogie Howser, though. I've never seen really Doogie Howser like that. Oh yeah, before I forget, let me mention Denise Richards. They used a fake butt for her on the movie poster. I think I read that on IMDb.
Don't you agree, Mr. Feather? Word. For sheezy, my kneesy. What did you say? I said, for sure. Yes, indeedy. I have a cold.
Bitch! You know how much this cost? How much did this cost you, disco queen? All of this. How dare you?
Hey! How'd you do? Now look at here. Toast to the booty. Booty toast. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ow. Wait, look at that. Sit down. Sit down, black, and I'm proud.
To buy my new fried chicken, that is. Sure enough. I used to work for the Pentagon. Now I help you to get your chicken on. And for a limited time only, order a 8-piece nappy meal and get a 32-ounce malt liquor absolutely free.
You be buying, we be frying. General's chicken, the best chicken in the hood. Yeah. Leg press and thigh, sweet potato, General's fried chicken.
All right, that's been another edition of AAC Show. Thank you for tuning in. Next week, we got Vampire in Brooklyn and Garfield and Friends Season 2. Until then, stay blessed, y'all.